So my pick this month was Reasonable Doubt by Jay-Z. Um, Picture it here. We'll get that in editing. Um, so this album came out in 1996. It was one of the earliest albums from Jay-Z, kind of before the career that a lot of us are familiar with from like the 2000s with like the Blueprint albums and then the more recent stuff with Watch the Throne. Um, so sort of a deeper cut for folks of our generation, I guess. And I personally, I would say it's probably my favorite Jay-Z album. Um, it is a lot more steeped in sort of the 90s style of like New York hip hop at the time. There's a lot of great R&B influence on a lot of the songs. Um, and he's just got some really slick tracks. Like looking through it, Brooklyn's Finest is an absolute favorite with Biggie Smalls, the Notorious B.I.G. on it. Just hard hitting song. Then followed up with like Dead Presidents 2, which is kind of this incredible somber-esque track. And it features a sample from Nas's Illmatic, actually. The line is, "I'm out for presidents to represent me." And that was, I believe, and someone feel free to fact check me on this, listeners, but I believe the beginning of some of the beef between Nas and Jay-Z, because Jay-Z didn't properly clear that sample with Nas, or didn't like properly get permission before throwing it into the album. Few other tracks that are definitely worth calling out. The Evils is sort of a great tale of just like hard life of crime in New York and Brooklyn. Then you've got 22 Twos, where he's kind of just doing like almost like a freestyle at like an open mic night kind of vibe, which is fun. Friend or Foe is almost like an interlude. It's like less than 2 minutes, and it's got this spoken word style to it that's just kind of smooth, kind of rolls as he's like talking to some rival person, more or less in control of the situation, threatening them like, "Hey, get out of my area." But like very kind of mafioso like. All in all, really great album. Oh, the other one I did want to touch on was Coming of Age, featuring Memphis Bleak. I don't know Memphis Bleak. I haven't heard anything else by him, but I really love the back and forth between Jay-Z and Memphis Bleak on that. Memphis Bleak plays like this more up and coming young youth in the drug dealing game, and Jay-Z sort of like schooling him and like, "I like your style," and Memphis is like, "I like your style," and they just kind of trade bars back to back, and it's really really cool. I love this album to death. I'm really interested to see what all you guys thought of it.
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in first. I also really like this album. A couple things that stood out to me was Politics as Usual. That track was whatever sample they were using or whatever they did to construct that beat just hit right for me. But I love how clear of an influence is drawn between like Italian mafioso lifestyle and like sort of New York gangsters or gangster rap rather. Because right off on that intro track, right, it's like this Italian voice going, "You want to talk to me? You got to talk to me," So very much, drawing that line, and it's very evident. Yeah, I love this album a lot. I hadn't really given it a full listen before, and I like East Coast rap, especially from the '90s. But yeah, I thought this was a killer choice.
Sick. Well, I guess I'll go. Well, I don't listen to a lot of rap, but when I do, I when I listen to like older rap, I tend to like it a lot more than newer rap. Which is cool. I think it's a lot, less in your like face, I guess sometimes, but like it's like smoother sometimes. I don't know. This and the Illmatic were kind of similar in that way, I guess, and like just the flows, I guess, of it. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever listened to a Jay-Z album before, but I think he just sounds like so confident, when he's delivering his lines. I mean, is this his debut album? Is that what you said?
I'm actually not positive. I think he might have had like a mixtape or two before that, but it's the
Well, it
earliest one
sounds
I
like he's been doing it for a while. I mean, when you're listening to it. But yeah, I really liked the track where it's kind of like that live party and he's just kind of the freestyle. I really like tracks like that kind of like, it feels like loose and there's a bunch of people in the room just kind of like doing whatever and you can kind of hear people like shouting and stuff. I just like I love tracks like that. I just think it's a really cool idea and I think more people should do stuff like that. But
wait, who said F you? Who said that?
I know, yeah.
Who
Like,
said
get that guy out of here. Yeah, that was
I'm not continuing the show until we get that guy out.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I loved it. I mean, that's what I love about this record club. You know, it makes me listen to albums that I probably would never think to listen to. So it was really cool to listen to. I didn't like one track, Ain't No N-Word. That one was a little weird. It was a little cheesy for me. I don't know why, but I think the whole thing was just like really entertaining though. Just like the little like mafia guy, you know, doing like a little track. I just love little stuff like that. And I love that stuff. It's cool.
And that happens way more on rap albums too than like any other genre, really. You know, like you get those little vignettes, which I love.
I've been noticing that. Yeah, it's cool.
I'm actually going to piggyback off of Matt with his review on this because, you know, kind of similar to him, you know, what I love about this club is that, you know, sometimes I listen to albums that wouldn't necessarily gravitate to. So I really enjoyed listening to this because, you know, again, my knowledge of rap is a little limited too, but it seems like earlier rap is very, very groove driven, a lot of R&B, a lot of sort of funk elements. And it really just sort of elevates the sort of percussive nature of just like how Jay-Z is delivering his lines. So it almost sort of becomes like another sort of, you know, percussive instruments, for me at least, because I'm not always the best at picking up lyrics. So there's just sort of a constant sort of pulse to all the songs that is just really enjoyable to me. And so, yeah, it was a great listen. I really enjoyed just sort of the constant groove of the album. Yeah, the confidence that Jay-Z seemed to have. As you're saying, early in his career, I don't know how many albums he had before this, but it just sort of oozes confidence. And yeah, it was very cool. I really like this album a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everybody here. I thought it was really, really good. I think this is another like album that I'll add like to my rotation of like 90s hip hop. I like kind of similar to Luke, like I hadn't really heard a lot of Jay-Z's older stuff, and I know like more recently, like in the 2000s, early 2000s, he was more poppy. So it's nice to hear something a little more like this, and kind of like what Matt said too, like I don't know how long he's been, I don't know how many records he had put out before this, but he sounds like really confident in this, and like the way he flows is just like it's really easy for him. So it sounds like he's been doing this for 20 years in this record, like it for this to be like a first like actual release. So yeah, it was great. Thanks for choosing it, Luke.
Absolutely. And I can confirm that it was his debut record.
That's
so
awesome.
Also amazing that he just came out swinging like that.
Definitely.
For real. Dude, where would you rank 444 compared to this album?
I would definitely put it up there. I like 444 a lot. I think it's a great reflective album for where he was at like that age of the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, whenever it came out. I forget exactly. But I'd still probably put this album above it. And so I guess it's time for me to give it a rating as a whole. I would give this probably a 9 out of 10. I'd say a strong 9 out of 10. Just because I think it's hard to pick something that is a 10 out of 10. And I think this comes close, but there are like a few things where I think that it kind of drags on. It's a little longer. And there's like a few songs towards the end that I could take or leave personally. But overall, yeah, 9 out of 10.